And hello
It's too
and
big.
welcome to MMOFTW Live, the very special all Defiance all the time edition here on MMORPG.com. I am your host, Bill Murphy, the managing editor of the website, and down there on the lower right is my co-host and staff writer and live streamer extraordinaire, Robert Graculin Lashley. Hey, Rob.
Hello.
And you can't see him, but you can hear him, is Robert Hill, the senior producer on Defiance. Say hi, Robert Hill.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
See, he's the mystic voice, like the man behind the curtain. And also with us, we have the community manager on the Defiance project. That's Matthew Everett. He's going to be playing with us in the game and showing us around, along with Lance James, another community manager over at Trion. So hey, guys.
What's going on?
All right. Well, for those of you who aren't familiar with the format of the show, normally we talk about the week that was in MMO news, but this being kind of a special occasion, the eve before the NDA drop for Defiance, I can say that, can't I?
Yes.
Everybody knows the NDA drops tomorrow, right? Okay.
Yes.
We're going to just kind of plow through the game. We're going to play it with these guys, and as we're playing it, we're also going to be talking to Robert Hill about, what the hell is Defiance, what's going on with it, and just kind of do a deep dive into all the systems and everything as we run around in this awesome Challenger with with Matthew driving. Okay, so Robert, I guess we're just going to start off right off the bat. Give us an overview of what Defiance is, both as an intellectual property, as a game, as a show. Give us the whole shebang. What is Defiance for those who don't know?
Yeah, Defiance as a property is essentially a transmedia experience. So what that means is that we have a game that was developed by Trion, we have a show that's developed by Sci-Fi, and they coexist in the same world at the same time. And what we're really going to be doing is when the season starts, and for the first season, the game and the show are going to be evolving together. So things that happen in the game, you'll see reflected in the show. Things that happen in the show will be reflected in the game. Characters will go back and forth. It's really an evolution of two properties, two different properties, or same property but two different media happening at the same time. It's never been done before. It's really unique.
Now, how much involvement do you guys actually have with the show then? You know, you're making the game. I know you're not on the sets taping the show with Grant Bowler and all them, but how much involvement is there between the two?
There's actually quite a bit. We decided early on that we wanted to do this unique thing, and so we really knew that we had to start communicating from the very first day. So this entire property has been co-developed with the Sci-Fi Channel. Us putting input in, them putting input in, figuring out what we need to make a great game, them figuring out what they need to make a great show, and really just building it together from the very beginning.
Okay, well, let's talk about the game, because obviously we're a game focused website, and then we'll maybe pepper it with a little bit of the show too. One of the things that's a little bit confusing for a lot of our users maybe, and I know a lot of you guys who are watching this are probably quite familiar with Defiance, but as a sort of quasi MMO persistent online shooter, there's a different way that you guys handle progression in Defiance. It's not like a class-based MMO. How does progression work in Defiance, and why did you go with the classless route?
Yeah, essentially because shooter fans typically like to be able to try things situationally. So they may want to be a sniper 1 second, they may want to, lob grenades the next second, use assault rifles. So we really kind of went with the classless system to support what shooter fans expect. And it allows people to just, okay, you got a sniper rifle, I'm going to go in with the switch my shotgun, go in with the shotgun. And that's really the way a lot of shooter fans expect to play the game.
Now, when we talk about it being classless with the different kinds of progression, how does the progression actually work? So, if you're playing the game, how does your character evolve over time?
Yeah, you do it in a number of ways, actually. Killing things obviously give you experience. You can go on missions that will also get you experience. We have these giant boss battles that are called arc falls that will also get you quite a bit of experience. So people, tend to do those things a lot. And as your experience goes up, you increase your individual powers, or then we have a grid of things around it called perks that not only affect the main powers that you're using, but also affect.
These are the perks right here that we're showing here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those will affect things that are somewhat situational. So I'll be better at shooting somebody in the back or shooting somebody from on high. So that's one way, but it's also equipment. We have thousands and thousands of guns, and you can essentially, as you as you play the game, you'll get better and better equipment that can do more and more different things. And on top of that, if you are playing a sniper a lot, you'll increase your sniper skill, and you can do that for each weapon type. So there's multiple ways to really progress through the game.
And that's actually leading right into the next question. I was just going to say, how would my Arc Hunter be different from the next Arc Hunter? I know when you begin the game, obviously everybody's sort of kind of like a blank slate. You don't have any perks, you don't have any ego skill really assigned to yourself, and you also only have like one of a few outfits. So how, as you go along, do you differentiate yourself from the rest of the players in the game?
A lot of it comes through weapons, but we also have a ton of different outfits that you may not have really seen yet. But that's sort of a personal look customization type of thing. But again, you're going to be leveling your weapon skills up, and you can't do them all at once. So you may increase your weapon skills in one type of weapon faster than somebody else, but you also can only really equip a limited amount of perks at a time. So I may have a bunch of different perks that you actually don't have that will be equipped at any individual time.
Okay. And those perks level up also, like you can go multiple ranks within each perk, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
so like something like, okay, you do extra damage from behind, maybe it's a small percentage at first, but the more points you put into it, the better off you become at that?
It will definitely increase over time. You'll also be able to equip more perks the longer that you play. I mean, another little customization thing you see here is a bunch of different vehicles, right? You were hanging out in the Charger or Challenger earlier.
Yeah.
So players can equip just a ton of different vehicles, and in that specific instance, when you start out the game, you're only in a quad, which is a single-person vehicle. But as you upgrade to more and more vehicles, you can carry more people.
Now, the vehicles can be used in combat too. I've seen a few with guns and stuff like that on them. You can man the guns on the back of them and everything too?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's really for one of our specific game modes, which is Shadow War.
Which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Those will actually just spawn in the world, and you can jump on them. It's not something that you can drive around all the time.
Okay. So it's not something that I could just tool down the highway like I am right now with my ATV and everything.
If you're in a Shadow War, you can.
Okay. Well, let's talk about, we're going to talk about Shadow War in a little bit, which is more like competitive multiplayer. Let's talk about some of the co-op and PvE side of the game. What sorts of things will players do while out and about in the world? I mean, are there dungeons like in a typical MMO? What are the challenges that you see littering the map? What kind of questing is there and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have a lot of missions, and that either will progress you through a storyline, or we have a lot of side missions as well. And those are something that you can do with a ton of other players. You can be on a mission, for example, and you may not be in a group, but players will converge on that space, and you're naturally progressing through the mission with them. So that's kind of cool. That's really one of the things that tout, because you're constantly meeting new people within this game because you're in the game world with hundreds of other players.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have the Arc Falls, which I mentioned, which are dynamic content. It's basically a large boss battle that can be in multiple phases, and you can have dozens and dozens and dozens of players competing in this thing, which is exciting in and of itself. And then there is instances, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They're 4-player instances, and they're very story-driven. But you can do those multiple times and get new rewards each time you do them. And then the challenges, you mentioned, challenges and rampages. And we have races. You can do time trials. The challenges and stuff will be maybe, how many hellbugs can you kill in 3 minutes? Or, all of that kind of different stuff. So there's actually a ton of content that you can really participate in Defiance.
With regards to the Arc Falls, I want to go back and talk about that because that's one of the big things we've seen at some of the press events and stuff like that. It reminds me, and it's reminiscent, and probably with good reason, of like the rifts in Rift. What's like the thematic storyline behind an Arc Fall? What is it basically, and why would a player want to partake in one aside from fun?
Go back to the fiction of Defiance a little bit, in case the people listening aren't familiar. Essentially, what happened within the history of Defiance was several alien species had to leave their solar system because it was going to be destroyed, and they left in these large arc ships. And these arc ships carried their terraforming engines, their flora, their fauna, and the only place they found to go was Earth. But as they got close, they realized that there were already modern humans. And so there's negotiations about allowing the aliens to colonize because they didn't come here as conquerors. They didn't want to conquer. And essentially at some point, the negotiations go sour, large arch ships get sabotaged, they rain down on Earth, and the terraforming machines start going off. So now, where Defiance is presently is basically a heavily terraformed Earth. Yet, what an arcfall is it's remnants of ships that are still in orbit that will periodically enter orbit and crash down on the ground carrying valuable minerals or valuable technology. And that's really what the players are converging on these arcfalls for. And it's not just the players. They're Hellbug arcfalls that will try and grab these minerals because they use it to breed, or miners that will also want the material. So you're fighting a large group of NPCs or a large NPC boss with dozens and dozens of players.
So when you say like minerals and stuff like that are valuable, so when you defeat this arcfall, are there multiple stages then? I mean, maybe I missed that while I was shooting things to each arcfall.
Yeah, there really is. I don't know which one you did, but each arcfall has multiple phases. And so you'll go through the early phases, and then it'll get harder, and it'll get harder, and you have to do specific things during those phases. But the other part is that the more players you have, the more phases we allowed you to do, which gives you a greater reward. So maybe if you were in an arcfall with just a couple of people, you may only get a couple phases before it completes. But if you're there with a ton of people, which is usually the case, you go through 5, 6, 7 phases and just get huge rewards.
And how do they spawn in the world? Is it sort of like a random type spawn, or do you guys control it? How's that work?
We can do both. We set some to be random. We set some that we can just fire off. We set some to be timed. We can do it in a number of different ways because we have the core dynamic system that Trion has built and used very effectively in Rift. I don't know if you can notice the emergencies, which are just these events that happen all over the place. Those are all
Speaking
random
of which.
events. Yes, you just rolled up to one. That won't always be there. And maybe a different emergency will be there. So that's really what the dynamic nature of this game and Trion's games really brings it to mind.
So it actually helps to be an explorer in this game, because if you're not just following a set path, you might stumble across something that's worthwhile and worth doing.
Absolutely. It could be an arcfall, it could be an emergency, it could be data recorders, it could be all sorts of stuff.
And let's talk a little bit about the loot and the rewards then. You mentioned that there are, minerals and things like that you want to get, but what other sorts of guns and things like that? There's not really armor in the game in like a typical MMO world, but what kind of stuff would a player be picking up as they're playing and everything?
Yeah, the guns are the big one because you can carry a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Equipping 2 at once. But we also have you collecting grenades and shields, which sort of acts like armor. You can see on the top left of the screen. We have a shield mechanic and a health mechanic. The shield will deplete faster, but it'll also come back faster. The health will deplete slower, but also come back slower. Mm-hmm. But players can do different things to heal other players. For example, we have a weapon called a BMG.
Which I think I just got healed with.
Did you?
I think so.
Excellent, yeah. So, you can do damage to enemies with one mode, and then alt fire mode, you can naturally heal other players, which is great because, some people aren't the best shooter players, but they're still going to want to play Defiance, participate in the universe, and they can be a support class.
Which is fantastic, because that's actually something, I've been playing the game on the betas and stuff like that, but I wasn't aware that there was actually a healing gun, because I've never been able to get to the point where I had one. That means I can help out, because I'm a terrible shot.
Terrific.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, guys, if you want to come to my location, there's actually a little arcfall that we can show off.
Okay. So if we go to Friends and Sledgehammer, go to Friend. There we go. That's easy. You can teleport right to somebody if they're your friend, or if they're in your group, you can teleport to them that way as well.
Yeah, we really wanted to keep people playing together who were friends and who were in a group. Sometimes it's a pain when you're playing a massive online game and you're spread out all over the place. Just the travel can be hectic.
Hectic, yeah, exactly. Just finding, give me 3 hours, I'll be there. We can do that raid, and that takes 3 hours too. Notice the headshots, everybody. Whoa, maybe I'm not that terrible. Okay, let's now see. Rob, you're watching this as we're going along, correct? You're over Matt's shoulder right there.
Actually, I'm behind Lance, and he's just ran into a tree, so he's on his way.
Okay, well, we're doing one of these arc falls right now, and it says defeat the mutant wave 2 out of 3, so it's like this is the first stage of one, I assume.
I believe this is a smaller arc fall.
Okay.
So this is essentially it's probably just 3 waves, but you can get bonus waves if you have enough people and you start clearing through the waves quick enough. It just depends on how fast you get through that original portion.
Okay. And now we did talk about this right before the show. Right now, I believe the loot and rewards and stuff from Arc Falls are turned off, but that's beta for you, right?
Yep.
So if anybody says, "Hey, where's my crap?" It's just beta.
Yeah. We definitely have rewards in there, but they're just turned off.
Well, while we're doing this and while everybody's watching us kill things, let's talk a little bit about the PvP too, because I don't want to miss out on any of the features of the game. So there's competitive multiplayer, but it comes in different flavors. Can you tell us what those flavors are and what they taste like?
Yeah, the most exciting one was the Shadow War that I mentioned earlier.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, essentially what we do is you opt in to any of our player versus player. You can't just run around and gank people randomly. So you decide you want to be a part of that, and essentially what it does, it spawns capture points within the main world. So you're not actually taken out of the game. You're playing within the main world itself. So players who aren't maybe involved in the Shadow War can still watch it go on. All the monsters and creatures that are in the world are still there, which really adds an interesting dynamic, because as you're trying to get these capture points and kill other players, sometimes you have to decide, well, there's a horde of monsters there. Do I want to take them out before I take out other players? And as more people join the Shadow War, more and more capture points get spread around the world. So these can get quite large. We had one over 100.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense fun. Vehicles were spawning because there were that many people, so people were on the back of vehicles shooting each other, running over each other. It was really cool. Plus the monsters. We even had an arc fall on one of the capture points. So they were fighting each other while they were doing an arc fall while they were trying to get the capture point.
Okay.
So it got pretty crazy.
So how long would something like that typically last? Does it just keep going, or is there like we won, this side won?
There is a we won,
okay.
And that's typically a capture and hold on the capture points that spawn in the world.
Okay.
But they can last, depending on how good the teams are, right? If one team could totally blow out the other team, it's not going to be too long. But if they're fairly well matched, it can last for quite a while.
Okay. And what about the other form of PvP? This is sort of like the sport of Defiance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How's that
so
go?
essentially, we also have maps that are built specifically just for the PvP. They're not actually in the main world, and those are standard, player versus player maps that are built and designed around the weapons and everything. And as you're doing PvP, particularly those or others, there's an arc fall. There's a big arc fall.
Yeah, we're heading there.
Yeah, you can you will get rewards specific to player versus player. So you're not required to play, but you'll get different weapons and different grenades.
Are they stuff that you
if
can
do
use
it.
in PvE as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We don't separate the two.
Awesome. And it's not going to give somebody that doesn't want to partake a specific advantage or anything like that, is it?
No,
Okay.
you are correct.
Cool.
The other nice thing is while you're waiting for a PvP match, you're not sitting in a queue that's a screen.
Mm-hmm.
You actually will be able to continue to do arc falls or missions or whatever, and it'll let you know when the queue is full, and then you can just hit a button and go in. So you're never sitting in a screen just waiting for something.
Okay.
It's worth pointing out too, real quick, Bill, that this is a major arc fall as opposed to what we were doing earlier.
Involving the hell bugs and everything like that.
Yeah, like if you want to show them the map, you can see that there's 5 different points within a larger circle.
So we're at this one right here.
What's going on?
And then,
Yeah, so when you clear out these smaller circles, there should be a large boss at the end.
Okay. So let's try and
And
do
they're
that
big.
while we're playing here.
It's
try
very
my
large.
best. Okay, so we talked about the PvP, the Shadow War. We talked about some of the rewards that you get from doing the PvP. Are there like match-made rankings too? Like, will you be able to see how well you rank against other players and things like that?
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Awesome.
we totally rank at the end of each of the matches, including the arc fall. Excuse me. So you can see if you were the top contributor to arc falls or some of the other events we have.
Okay. And will it be like a server-wide thing? Will you be able to like track somebody across the entire game? Not necessarily just one match, but maybe like every match. Like, is there going to be a like server? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I
Yeah,
guess
not to
a ladder.
start with in the game itself, but I believe they're working on a website that'll allow you to do that.
Oh, that would be awesome. Hey, maybe you heard it here first. Look at that.
Yeah, there is some reward you're not seeing maybe that you're getting here, and it's the Gulanite crystals, the green crystals.
Yeah.
And those essentially allow you to build art keys, and art keys are used to get lock chests. So lock chests are basically something you can buy at a merchant, and you'll get 2 random high-level items, or 3 depending on how many art keys you have, or 4 depending on how many art keys you have. So you actually, even though there's no reward maybe showing on the results screen, you are still getting something unique at the Sarkfall.
That brings me to another question, but we'll kind of get to that later. Well, Rob's got some questions on that one, so we'll talk about like the cash shop and stuff like that. Because the game's buy to play. For those of you who don't know, there's no subscription for Defiance. Once you buy it, you can play it as much as you want or as little as you want, and there's DLC coming. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But can you tell me real quick? Let's talk about the amount of content at launch. About how much can it like. How much would a player, how long would it take a player to actually get through everything in the game before they're, kind of out of stuff to do?
I honestly don't know.
Because there's not really a level cap, right?
Yeah, the ego rating goes up quite high. You can see that these guys, you guys were at what, 40-something?
Yeah, and Lance and Matthew were at
2400?
Just a couple.
I'd like to point out that I'm at 50. No, Bill's only in the 40s, so...
Probably.
The other nice thing there is loot drops are based on you and your ego rating. So if you kill something and it drops loot, you'll get something that's appropriate for that ego rating. So even though you guys are in your 40s, these guys are still getting weapons that are appropriate to their 2400 or their 2600 ego rating.
And does content sort of like you scale to meet the content in the area you're at? So what if would I go to a higher level area? Would that be possible? Could I do that?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The more people that show up at content, the harder it will be and the better the rewards will be and the better the loot drops. But we don't have a traditional massive online level curve that's incredibly steep. Again, because we are a pixel perfect shooter. So it's more flat. So you are still contributing at 40 at this Arcfall that these guys are in the 2400s. Maybe not as much, but it's not like you guys are useless here or anything.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I am now because I'm out of ammo. But
right. You guys are much closer in power than you typically expect from a massive online game. One of the things that do increase a lot of as you get more power or ego rating is the amount of the loot that you get, the amount of unique things it can do, the amount of unique modifiers will increase. So it may not be a straight damage curve, but it'll do a lot more different things when you shoot it.
And thank God I did, like, so the amount I use, say, an assault rifle or something like that, the better I'll get at it, and it'll do more stuff as well. Do more damage and everything. Or
do more damage, maybe less recoil, or some unique effect, or have elemental effects, or any of that kind of stuff.
All right, well, I'm going to let Rob Lashley, not Rob Hill, take over with a few questions here, too, because I know he's got some he's been wanting to ask.
FYI, Bill, don't be a sissy. You got melee, throw some elbows. Run out of ammo, you're not useless.
Yeah, well, I did get a scatter gun, so I'm good. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, so let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the stuff that everybody grinds and plays for. Let's talk about the loot. What can you tell us about the guns, and not just the normal rifles that you see Bill out there shooting with their shotgun, but the ones that are alien tech where you're shooting people, and next thing you know, they got giant bugs running off them.
Yeah, the Infector. That's definitely a unique one. Basically, it's shooting needles that infect a target and puts these large pustules on them, and then they will spawn these little bugs that will then attack all the enemies around you. That one's pretty unique. It's fun to watch in player versus player because people run away from those things a lot. We've also got a detonator, which is essentially a kind of a grenade launcher, and we have a ton of different types of those. But one of the primary ones is that it will stick to targets, so you can stick it to other players, or you can set traps with it, and then detonate it when you want to. We've also got the BMG that I mentioned, which is a mixture of a chain gun, kind of a lightning chain gun, and a healing gun. We've got all sorts of stuff like that, and you can modify them all. So basically, we allow you to upgrade the stock or the clip or whatever to add elemental effects, or again, all the stats that you would expect from a gun: less recoil, more damage, all that kind of stuff, longer range, better rate of fire. So you can actually do some modifications that aren't just statistical; they actually show up visually on the weapon itself.
Okay, not to put you on the spot, but do you know which weapon it is that's causing people to have like big, giant balls for feet, and I know it has a slowing effect on it as well, and you're kind of
The
like
enemies have it too, obviously.
dragging through the mud. Yeah, it looks like
Yeah. That's probably a grenade. That's probably our goo grenade, because we have a ton of different grenades that also do that kind of stuff. That'll have specific elemental effects, and that one's particularly interesting in player versus player. But it's fun against some of these faster monsters too.
And it sucks when you get hit with it.
All right. So what about vehicles? You know, we start off, we got a
By
quad
the way,
runner.
when you get hit with it, you can roll, and it'll lessen the duration of the effect.
No kidding? Okay, good
Yeah.
to know.
Sorry. Active rolling. I did not realize that was here. So what I was going to say is, you know, tons of guns, all kinds of different, you know, shields and whatnot, grenades. There's also a lot of vehicles. We start off with this ATV, and I see that one of the guys has a Challenger, which I guess I should pre-order vehicle. But how many other different types of vehicles are in the game that we can expect to accumulate on our players?
It's a couple of dozen different types, but you know, we also have the cosmetic variants, different colors, different skins. But yeah, around a couple dozen, I believe.
Now, are these mostly things that people are going to be able to purchase in the cash shop, or are there going to be a way to earn them by playing the game?
There are ways to earn them in the game, but you can also purchase them from the cash shop. Most of the cash shop stuff is going to be variants, though, like I said, texture variants and outfit variants and things like that that are primarily cosmetic.
All right. What about the salvage matrix? It's another way to, you know, go about and buff the weapons that we've currently got. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, that was sort of the root of the modification system I was talking about adding things to the weapons that
like
show up
crafting.
visually, add statistics. Yeah, but you can also break them down into that goulanite material I was talking about for the lockboxes. You can also take the modifications off and change them if you want to.
Okay, so you guys mentioned it earlier. The game is going to be buy to play, and there's going to be DLC. And I know that you guys have sold the season pass. You've already started pre-sales on the season pass. How fast can we expect to see DLC coming out? Is it going to be frantic like it was with Rift at first, where you're seeing a patch almost every 5 to 6 weeks, or is it going to be more like every 8 to 10?
It'll be slower than what you're talking about with Rift, but we are constantly working on the game, so we'll see changes in the game that are for free. The DLC tends to be larger features and larger groups of content, whereas, you know, we'll always be fixing bugs, for example. We're not going to put it in DLC. But, you know, you'll be getting some new features within the first few weeks that aren't currently in the game that are free. It's the larger ones that are the DLC, and those will be a little less frequent, but they will occur throughout the year, and including the off season for the television show.
What kind of content will we see in those DLCs?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, maybe clan features, for example. Persistent clans could be something that allow you to level up your clan, which gives you a benefit clan-wide. Or it may be some new player versus player maps, or a brand new type of weapon. It's all sorts of stuff.
All right.
And new areas.
And new areas. Ooh,
There we go.
That's the one.
And new areas. There's
New areas, new
one of
features.
the things we were looking for.
Yeah.
New races, new playable races.
Potentially, yeah. We've actually started working on that.
Oh. See,
Look at that.
there we go. You
That
heard
first
it here
heard?
first, folks.
Or does everybody know about that?
They probably know about
Yeah,
that. People
they don't
assume.
know about that.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Okay, so we've
Ryan
talked about the
Peters
fact
just
there
got
will be a
mad.
cash shop, and you know, people shooter cash shop. You know, if you don't do it right, people are they're gonna hate it. What are the type of things that we're actually gonna see in the cash shop that's gonna be able to pot? You talked about the variants on the vehicles, but what else?
Boosts are another thing, and that's essentially things like an experience boost, or a loot boost. So you won't be more effective in combat, but when you are doing combat and you've killed things and finished things, you'll be getting some of that stuff faster if you have bought those. But they aren't just individual to yourself. You can actually buy group boost packs that when anybody's in your group, they'll also get that boost, and even clan boost packs. So that's another one that's just outside of the cosmetic. Again, it doesn't mean that somebody's going to kill you better. They may just get loot a little faster and get the ego rating a bit faster.
Okay, I want to tell the people that are watching what's going on in game here. In case you haven't noticed, this this arc fall that we're
getting
fighting
nuts.
at, it's progressively gotten stronger. And what's happened is there's been other groups that are out there, and I'm trying to show my map, even they're looking at
If
Bill's
you look at the
screen.
purple dots, those are all
There's
players.
other people. Yeah,
let's-
there used to be 5 smaller, this one giant area, and we killed one, which you saw, and other groups killed the other 3.
Yeah.
And this is the last one.
is
And we've
the
got
last
like
one.
elite archer hellbugs. We've got monarchs, which
are
what
massive.
I'm looking at. I don't know what Bill's looking at.
Archers.
And once we finally get this crystal down, there's going to be another arc fall that'll follow it. And well, I
final
don't
one.
want to spoil it for you. And we'll just let you see what happens because
This was almost dead.
The
yeah, we're going to
Monarch.
get there here in a few minutes. Okay, but back to the questions and back to the aliens. So far, you know, I've only been at the very beginning of the game and the alpha and the beta, and I've seen 2 races: the Rathian. I could have said that wrong. The Rathian.
Yeah, it's
the,
close. Yeah, the Rathian, yeah.
Rathian, and the humans. But we all know that the Votans are going to be in the game. Or I'm sorry, that they're prevalent in the
show.
story and in the show. Are we going to see them in the game? Not necessarily as a playable race, but at least as an NPC. And if so, when can we kind of expect that?
Yeah, you see all of them. You see all of the primary races. We do have the Sensoths. We have the Cassithans, which are the whiter people, if you've seen any of the trailers for the show.
Whiter than me.
Yeah. We have
It's very hard.
Indogene, which are like a cybernetic race. So yeah, all of our major races do play a role in the story.
Oh, Graculin's down. That's
But
why he's.
oh, and I'm back up.
All right.
Sorry, I was trying to switch my grenades out there.
So you went down. Did somebody rescue you? Because anybody in this area could actually pull you up.
Somebody rezzed me before I even realized I was down. Like I went into my contextual menu to swap. I got a grenade. It was a level 55 grenade. So I was using level 40. So I wanted to switch that real quick, and I heard myself die while I was in the menu. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed on the screen too. There's loadout slots, so you can essentially
Have several
multiple
builds.
multiple builds that you can switch
Yeah.
between much faster than having to do individual weapons or shields or all that stuff.
Which is awesome too, because that classless system allows you to like kind of pick whatever different way you want to play, or you could have 16 different ways to play the overcharge ego skill if you wanted to.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it gives you a lot of variety, which is fun.
Yeah, speaking of ego skills, I'm doing stealth, which I like the fact that everybody can have stealth. You can be the biggest, bulkiest, burliest guy in the game, and you can run around invisible. And
Lance just went down.
Oh, where is
so
he?
that's nice. Last thing.
That's nice.
So we've seen 2 Arcfall types. Just in the short period of time that we've played, we've seen this one that involves these hellbugs. And we saw an earlier one that involved hellbugs. What other type of Arcfall events can we expect to see in the...
There's miners, which are cyborg miners. There's mutant marines.
Miners.
Yeah, there's these things called scrappers towards the end of the game, which are this robotic kind of race. We have quite a few. We pretty much utilize every single creature type to try and build different Arcfalls. And it's really kind of regional. You'll see mutants here, and you'll see hellbugs here, but in the next area, you may see something completely different.
Oh, we're all stuck behind girders here. You have to hang on with us, Rob.
Here's the bigger
Just
one.
dismount and jump over them.
Yeah.
Resummon. I'll back up.
There we go.
So you can see that this event in and of itself is taking a good amount of time.
And taking you all over the place to do so. And the cool part is you could join this at any time and still get rewards based on your participation level.
Absolutely, yeah. You can anytime you see it on the map, you can just drive to it and take care of it.
Ooh, this thing looks bad.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger bugs. It's not the biggest.
So I'm gonna just. Is there a place where I could just go drink a few beers before I die?
You need to aim for the mouths up along the rim.
Speaking of, I need to re-equip things. You got one more question, Rob, or was that the last one?
Oh, that was the last one.
Okay, well that moves on to the last few that we have, I guess. Then we'll take some from the audience as well. Let's talk a bit about the. Well, here, this is kind of a hard question. Have you ever wondered what would happen? Let's say the show fails to capture an audience, or maybe the game fails to capture an audience. Are there plans in place for something along those lines? If Defiance the show just doesn't last, how will the game carry on without it?
Yeah, we always knew that was a risk from the beginning. Because while we were heavily involved with the television show, we weren't, like you said, on the set filming it. But we really wanted to generate a game that can exist by itself if it needed to. You don't have to watch the show and play the game. You can watch the show, and if you're playing the game, you get a deeper insight into the show and the things that cross back and forth, like I said, or vice versa. But it's not a requirement, so as long as we make a good game, if the show doesn't do well, we could just keep going.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we really knew that was a risk, so we put a lot into trying to just make the game great.
Much to Sci-Fi's chagrin, of course. Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
I don't think it will. The show's actually looking really, really good.
Yeah, I gotta say, we were just talking about last week. It's probably the first show on Sci-Fi in a really long time that I'm taking seriously, that I want to see. You know, they really definitely. There's a lot of effort going into it. As like this, you know, the same guy that made the languages for Game of Thrones is making all the languages for the aliens. I mean, it's just a lot of cool
special
stuff.
effects guys from Battlestar Galactica.
There you go.
And some of the writers, and so yeah, they actually spending more on the first season of this series than they did on Battlestar.
Whoa. Well, that's nobody expected Battlestar to blow up the way it did either. Perhaps this time they have a little more faith in their ability.
Yeah, it's looking good.
About to die myself. Okay. How do you plan on having the game inform the show's story then? Let's talk more about that, or vice versa, how the show will inform the game's story. Like, how will those two kind of meet?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there will be events that the players participate in that will then resolve some issues in the show. On top of that, we have characters that go back and forth, a couple in particular, and so it's more of an evolution of the show and the game together. It's not, you're not going to be able to go in and kill the main character in the game and then next week that character's dead in the show.
I tried to shoot Grant Bowler. It didn't work.
No, it doesn't. We made him invulnerable. But but it's more of an evolution, which hasn't been done before ever between these two medium.
Is there ever going to be a time when you guys are like, well, we'll hold a contest and we'll see which player wins the contest, and then we'll make... Really? Okay, so you'll see, like, our characters could be on the show.
Yes, and we actually have... we actually have a space reserved within the first season for not the player actually showing up in the show, but definitely a reference.
You know, it would be cool if there was a managing editor from a video game website in the show. It just would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. It was fun to be on the set.
Yeah, you're on there, I assume, right? Are you in the show? Do you have a guest appearance?
I am not. They asked me if I wanted to do it, and I did.
You should have. You could have gotten makeup. Nobody would have noticed you.
You could have got your SAG card. You'd have been in there.
Yeah. No, I blew that call.
Well, one last question.
Right, we were even in there. We were in Canada at the set. It wouldn't have taken much. You could just say, I'll take an extra day up here in Canada.
Yeah.
Who would want to be in Canada when you could be in Rob's beach house?
He was already in Canada, so I mean, it's not like he had far to go.
Okay, one last question, then we'll take some viewer questions. Which, Rob, I know you have the chat up, and you can man those for us here in a bit too. But okay, this is kind of the willy-nilly one, I guess. If you had to sell Defiance to a complete MMO noob or a complete shooter noob, how would you do it? Somebody that's never played these kind of games but maybe is interested in the show, how would you sell them on Defiance?
Yeah, I mean, I would basically just tell them that, if they're not a shooter fan or not an MMO fan, that gets a little difficult, but if they were one or the other, I would really talk about, particularly if you're a shooter fan, they just haven't had this kind of large social experience, particularly on Xbox and PlayStation 3. Mm-hmm. So, you're not just playing with 16 other players or 32 other players, and you're not just always shooting each other in the face with that amount of players. You're playing with hundreds and hundreds of players. And as you saw, you can make friends. You make a friends list, you can make a clan. So we have all these social persistent features within the game itself. We're not just relying on PSN or XBL. So it's something that shooter fans haven't seen before. And for fans of MMOs in particular, I love MMOs, but I love shooting things. And I haven't really seen that in the MMO space pulled off pretty well.
Especially with like a PvE experience. There's there's PlanetSide
Absolutely.
2, but there's none of this. You're not going to see an Arcfall in PlanetSide 2.
And that's exactly right. And that's again trying to build the whole social experience amongst the players and give them things to do together, not necessarily just killing each other.
At each other, yeah.
Yeah, and that has not been done in a shooter environment on a mass scale like this.
Okay, well that does it for the questions that we had for you right off the bat. I know that there's got to be some viewers that want to know more, so go ahead. Is there any questions in chat? Type them, and we'll ask the ones that don't involve things about killing Grand Bowler.
All right, I got a question about region locking. Are the people from the EU going to be able to play with the people on U.S. servers and vice versa?
Not on the consoles, I believe, because the consoles themselves sort of lock. But
Damn you, Microsoft.
yeah, on the PC, I believe you can. To be honest, I don't know why you would want to necessarily, but
Maybe
'cause
you
that's
wake up really early.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, if you're on a strange time schedule, maybe. But yeah, and it's not cross-platform, so you're not going to have Xbox 360 players playing with PC players playing with PS3 players. We can technically do it. We do it every day, but we were asked not to.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I wonder now who asked you not to.
The first party.
Okay.
We didn't do it on PC because, of communication reasons, VoIP reasons, and, we just felt, particularly at the time we made the decision, that mouse and keyboard would have an advantage. I think I've since learned that console players are getting really, really good at these things, but those are the two primary reasons we did it. They're just different communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, typically PC gamers are. I would think that you're going to have more of the MMO player on the PC and probably more of the shooter player on the console.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I wanted to have the fanboy wars and player versus player.
Yeah.
Sony versus Microsoft would have been awesome.
It would have been amazing. Maybe you could hold an event where you actually do put them together, just in a closed setting.
Yeah, there you go. That's not a bad idea.
What else we got, Rob? What other questions we got?
I just fed the trolls for a second, so let's see if we can get a new one. Will the whole map be available at release, or going to unlock as the show progresses?
The map that we have now is going to exist at launch. There are some things that are unlocked over time while you play, particularly the 4-player instances I talked about earlier. You only have access to a couple, depending on your ego rating, and then they will open up over time.
How many are there, real quick, if we could say?
Oh, a dozen, I believe.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, I believe it's somewhere in that amount, 10 to 12, I think. But the overworld map will be completely available and open, and you're not restricted to go to areas based on your ego rating. You can go there. You may die, but you could definitely go there. But your missions are typically localized to an area and then move on to the next areas. But you can always join your friend. Like, these guys were in Mount Tam. You guys were here, and then they just teleported to you. Yep.
Is there an ability to turn on your in-game damage numbers?
Yes, there is. It's in the settings. And that'll show you things like, we have chain kills, we have headshots, the hellbugs have weak points, all that stuff you can activate within the settings themselves. It's just that, this is really a shooter, so we just didn't make it default.
Plus, it would be crazy on the screen.
I actually use it.
Oh, really? You like seeing it?
I like to see when I get my headshots, when I get my chain kills, when I'm hitting weak points.
I've noticed that by default there's been certain things that I'll see, like the experience points. If I get a critical kill, if I get chain kills, I'll see those. But if just normal damage numbers, and apparently on Bill's screen too, because people are asking, we're not seeing
I don't have it
damage numbers just pop up. Okay, so there's that.
Oh my
I think
God.
you've already said it once, but for those that missed it, to include myself, sorry. How many 4-player missions /
12.
PvE dungeons? 12. There you go.
I believe it's 10 to 12.
Yeah, 10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Which one is it, Rob?
Man, yeah, I don't know for sure. Sorry.
That's okay. It's still a lot.
The Arcfall codes are still being asked. How many has been released? And there's people that say 91.
There's a ton, and there's a ton that haven't been found yet, right?
I can give the secret answer to that. There's 112 that have been released as of right now.
Look at that. For those of you that thought there were 91, looks like you got to go hunting.
Some of them are really hard to find. And
there's-
some of I'm amazed that people found.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that we've released that no one has found. They're
think my
still in
favorite-
clear view. You could find them, but you just keep in mind that they don't just live in our channels. Remember, Sci-Fi is our partner, so
Yeah.
check out their stuff too.
Well, I love that they were like showing up on the ads on our website too. I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell? What's that code? I better go enter that. And
Yeah,
for those
my
of you
favorite
who,
was
go ahead.
was
Rob.
the iris, the one that was in the
girl's
in her
eye.
iris.
Yeah. I like how, for those of you who aren't aware, it's like kind of like a side thing you can do as the up until launch and beyond, where you find these codes spread throughout a whole bunch of advertisements and everything else like that, and videos on YouTube and Sci-Fi Channel, and you enter these codes on your My Ego webpage on the Defiance website, and you'll get some cool little bonuses like additional item slots for your character, or maybe a quick jump on like your assault rifle weapon skill will be at 1 from launch instead of 0, that kind of thing. So it's kind of worth it.
Yeah, people are having fun with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go watch our new Arc Hunter Chronicle video we literally just posted the other day that has a few codes in it. There's a cheat for you guys.
Maybe that'll get you up to 92. Good luck with the other 14? I don't know. I can't count 20. All right. Any more questions in there?
Yeah, there's one. Since it's going to have the PvE aspects, and we've got healers, and we're going to have pseudo dungeons. Is there a tank? Is there more? One of these classes more suited to being a tank? And so what are you looking at with those guys? Evasion or having good shields? Ruggedized?
Yeah, all of that stuff really plays into it. So if you have a really good shield and a good shotgun, you would make a great tank. If you had some specific perks that lessened your damage or increased your health when your shield went down or any of that kind of stuff, you'd also make a great tank. Or you could decide you just want to be the guy, who has all the I shoot really hard types of perks.
Is that a way to say it? I shoot hard.
Yeah, I do a lot of damage. So it's really kind of a trade-off since your perks are limited. You only have one shield slot. You only have one grenade slot. I mean, you can hold multiple grenades and shields, but you only have one slot, and you can change them with loadouts. But yeah, you could build a pretty decent tank build or a pretty decent healing build if you wanted.
Okay. Another question is competitive. Since esports is blowing up, is there any designs to get the PvP aspect of this game pretty competitive to where you can see yourself having any esport aspiration with the game?
Yeah, it's a shooter. It's a shooter. So obviously we have a very big PvP component. PvE is the primary focus, but we do a lot with PvP. That's particularly why we did the whole Shadow War thing. And yeah, I mean, it's important for shooters to have a fun and compelling player versus player experience. So yeah, we will definitely be keeping an eye on that stuff.
One question I had, actually, real quick, based on what you were just talking about, how you could sort of make your own player roles for group content. Will it be required for you to go into these sort of co-op instances with, like a healing class and stuff like that? Or is it more of like it might just make your life easier kind of thing?
It might just make your life easier.
Okay.
We don't have any sort of... Well, okay. I was just about to say something incorrect. You are required to have 4 players to enter these instances, but we don't require any sort of special makeup of characters. You can join completely random people, or you can go in there with your group.
Yeah, there is matchmaking, correct? Like you can just queue up for whatever one's available to you, and you'll get match made with other players looking for the same one.
Yep, and again, it's not sitting in a queue screen, so you just
Okay.
have a little thing on the top left, and it'll put you in as soon as that queue is full.
Actually, if we regroup back up, we can probably queue up for one. I know we still have a little bit of time left.
Oh, duh, yeah, why don't we do that? But there's this arc fall happening.
Yeah, we're not going to get any loot anyway, so
So here, let's invite Sledge.
we're not going to complete it. The maps, as far as like size goes, how big are the maps in like a square kilometers mileage? Do you guys have that number or?
No, we haven't released the size of the world. It's representative of the Bay Area. It's obviously not the entire Bay Area, because that would be gigantic. But it's pretty large. You guys could look at the map and probably get an idea of how big it is, but I would have to get that number.
Does, real quick, since we're going to queue up for one of these co-op maps, should we try Island of Lost Soldiers or Commander Cronkite? Preference?
Which one do you guys want to try?
I haven't tried any, so which
It's
one?
totally up to you, Rob. If you just try either one.
Yeah, just pick one.
Okay, I like Walter Cronkite, so we'll go with Commander
There you
Cronkite.
go.
All right.
So you want to...
So it says waiting on group members.
Yeah, everybody has to accept.
The group leader can do it though. Yeah.
Oh, I'm the group leader. How do I do it? Control?
You should automatically be accepted.
Oh yeah, I am. Ah, cool. No.
Matt, it looks like you haven't yet.
It was me.
Deploying
Sorry.
in 23 seconds.
Too busy trying to get ammo.
Cheating, no less.
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't cheat.
Did you guys ungroup from us? Matt and Lance? I don't
Did
think
you
so.
get?
It still says Commander Cronkite deploying in 5 seconds, but I only see Grack in the group anymore.
You should join back in when
Okay,
you
there we go.
get
Cool.
to the instance.
So we'll show this as sort of our grand finale.
Yeah, these things can take a while. These things
There you
can
guys are.
be 20 minutes. These things could be an hour. It just depends on the one you guys decide to do.
Thank God for ammo.
Yeah, we need it.
Cash is all over the world.
So we scale these for 4 players. So these are more difficult than standard creatures outside, but they are again very story driven. They could have cutscenes and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of VO. I don't know if this one in particular does, but we have quite a few that do. And they usually have an end boss.
These turrets are evil, by the way, if you haven't noticed yet.
Yes.
How do we deactivate those little buggers?
They
It's either
have,
switch or you kill it.
I got a rocket launcher.
then they
I'll
have a
take care of
they have a generator that
There's
turn
a
the
generator.
generator off.
I keep
Yeah, there it is.
accidentally
Otherwise,
getting
they'll
control.
come back on. Bill, you're supposed to play the hell out of this game.
I'm supposed to play the hell out of a lot of games, and that's the problem. There's too many. I'm the jack of all trades. I may be the joker of all trades and master of none. Yeah, I killed a blaster.
Oh, did you just get a achievement for that?
Achievement, yeah. Or a pursuit.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen all those pursuits. Those are another thing. There's a lot of little things you could do, like kill your first creature type, or finish this mission, or find this object over here. That really unloads a lot of outfits, but can also give you other benefits as well.
Also,
and then we have some story behind those also. We have some data recorders that will tell you stories outside of the story that you're directly participating in, perhaps. But for example, if you had data recorders that you found in here, you'd get the whole history behind the bunker potentially, not just the story that you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I got a data recorder earlier today when I was out in the world talking about trying to prevent the Votan from joining the United Nations, and that the Votan ambassador wanted to separate the South American enclave from declared its own independence and not be part of, I guess, Earth.
Which
Not
they
part of
did.
Earth anymore.
Which they
Frog
did.
Earth.
They're called the Botanis Collective, and they're in South America.
Oh, nice.
There we go. See,
So
I actually
that's-
paid
I like
attention to it too.
politics.
Yeah, you did.
I actually stopped. I was like, I just got done killing a minigunner, and I found it, and I was like, oh yeah. Which, by the way, they're totally easy to snipe the hell out of those minigunners.
Sure.
But they sure hurt when they hit
They're
you.
like, what? What? I do love the shotgunners that have like the solid face mask, and you shoot them, and it doesn't one-shot head kill them. That's pretty fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's not fair. It's like he's now paper to my rock.
Yeah, but you could probably hit them in specific points to get them to open up that weak spot.
I just gotta
You
figure
can
that
actually
one
see
out.
some of the effects on these guys. They have weapons that are putting like a fire dot on us. You'll see yourself catch on
I
fire.
noticed that.
Yeah, you have
Like
those
your,
weapons too. You have that ability also.
Iridescent face paint.
Oh, when you hit something with the green gun?
No, it's some of them just like they had their face painted to begin with. Some have like gas masks on. This one guy I was shooting on looked like he had a just some funky tribal design on his face painted on there.
Oh,
Yeah, but
this-
you see
yeah,
when
it's
you
just
hit things,
imagine it.
yeah, the acid and all that stuff that's getting spewed.
Oh, I
all
just threw a
over.
grenade under that guy.
And you can see we have the explosive barrels and that kind of stuff.
which I just shot.
Yeah.
I love that too because it doesn't sit there and scream, "Hey, shoot me!" It doesn't have this big giant glow effect on it. That's like I'm interactable
You gotta pick
terrain.
it
It's
out.
just Yeah, it's kind of intuitive. It's like, hey, that's a compressed gas cylinder over there. Maybe if I shoot it, something bad will happen.
And it does.
There we go. Alright, maybe the stream won't end at 10 because I'm having too much fun. Would that be okay for
That's
everybody?
good.
You guys don't want to eat dinner. I know you're in California. You don't want to eat.
That's 7, I think, here.
I have to find out my wife's called me like 4 times in the last hour.
Whatever. Tell her to
She
take
knows
the
what I'm
car to the
doing.
impound. Alright, so what will is there like are there special items and things like that you can get from these co-op instances, stuff that you wouldn't be able to get in other areas? I almost got blown up. Really? Okay.
Yeah, you'll get some unique items based on some of these that you're doing.
Sorry
sure.
there, Lance. Threw a grenade in your face.
And as I said, you can do these over and over and over again if you want. They're a lot of fun. I've done the first one probably 10 times.
Is there ever any kind of sort of randomization to them, or are they something that players could actually learn and go through and know the steps?
They could certainly learn it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we started to go down the randomization route, and then realized it didn't necessarily make a fun shooting experience. so we made it much more tailored.
Go, cloak. God,
You got a couple people with cloak.
so many turrets in here.
Cloak is good.
We'll go
because
sniper rifle. I just
Cloak-
took them all out from back here.
Cloak is
The cool
good
thing-
because of
the
the
one of the-
recharge.
One of the cool things is you could see how all the abilities come into play in these co-op instances as well.
Yeah, the decoy is good against the turrets too because they'll fire at it instead of you.
Yes.
Have you really
Or just
shown
run
off your
by
ego
power?
power for the stream yet, Bill?
I have. I've been showing off the ego power. Mine's just cloak. I don't have anything special.
Okay, well, it's pretty cool.
Overcharge is rad, though. I just like the way Overcharge looks. Like, the most visually impressive one to me is Overcharge, because the way the bullets start firing like crazy.
Yeah, and the special effect they have when they hit.
Yeah.
Now, you see some elite creatures here. This is another thing that we scale based on the number of players, not necessarily in this instance, but outside. You'll start coming across more elites the more players are there. But then again, they drop better rewards. Lancer's got a purple.
Look at that. I got nothing. I got some script.
Yeah.
Or script. That's a question for you guys. What was I going to say about the ego powers? Are there going to be more added to the game? I know you have the 4 now and all those perks and stuff like that, but are there other plans to bring in, different skills, I guess, ego skills?
Yeah, that's something we'd love to do. We haven't announced anything along those lines yet, but obviously as you expand these games, you're going to want to be giving players more and more things to do.
Okay. I don't know where we're supposed to be going right now. There we go. You guys work here. You should tell us.
Follow Lance. He'll guide the way.
Oh, Lance, I was going to shoot that.
The barrel.
Yeah. See, now I'm
Unfortunate-
turning green.
Yeah, somebody got you with an acid effect.
Yep. The effects on weapons are what I think will make this game the most fun, just because of like acid. How many modifications could I have? Could I have like an acid mod and a EMP mod on one weapon, or is it limited?
No, you could have both.
See, and it's a
And
chance though. It's a chance to proc, not always.
Yeah, it's a chance. It's not always procking. But I mean, just within the weapon sets that we already have, I don't know if Lance still has that grenade, the detonator that has the bouncy grenade, but that's kind of fun to just play around with. It just bounces all over the place like crazy. Yeah, and so we put all different weird things like that on a lot of our weapons as well. Maybe not the most effective weapon, but pretty cool.
Definitely still cool. Sometimes it's just fun to play with stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why I like
that's why we built that stuff.
The incubator. Is that what it's called? The one with
The
bugs?
infector?
The infector. That's it. Call it
Yeah.
the incubator every time.
It kind of does the same thing.
Exactly, the eggs.
Yep. With the aliens spouting off of it.
Yeah. When you see somebody die and they just go all over the place, it's so good.
Yeah.
I think it was at PAX Prime last year when I got to use that weapon for the first time, and they're like, "You have other guns." I'm like, "No, I don't."
That's
It
it.
doesn't matter.
Cool.
I thought we had this guy.
I like the
down.
fact that the bugs actually will go out and, if I
Attack.
remember correctly, they do damage to other.
Yeah.
It's like a little AOE effect. after the fact.
And they swarm with that, which is cool.
Old
And
You're
there's
getting
times-
decimated by
times
these.
when we played player versus player, and they chase the guys all the way across the map. It's pretty fun.
So they don't. Do they eventually die off though, or is it something that?
They will eventually die
Okay.
over.
I was gonna say I could only imagine the hell that would. Oh my God! There's a guy right there, and nobody's attacking him.
But they last pretty long, so
Yeah.
you know.
It's worth it. But the gun itself doesn't do a whole bunch of damage. It's the
It's the
The
little
bugs,
aliens.
yeah.
Yeah, they like you said, they do a little like burst AOE each time that they hit.
Where did our friends that are actually
I don't
community
know.
managers go?
I don't know. It doesn't even look like I'm in the group anymore.
I had an issue where my client crashed. Thank you, Alpha Build.
This is yeah, folks. For those of you watching, if there's a bug, Alpha, once it's live, we won't call it that anymore.
Yes.
Oh my God, Grak and I might be in trouble then without our
Yeah.
superpowered friends.
This is
This guy with
I'm
the
gonna make-
shield.
I'm gonna make a run for the generator.
I'm gonna distract this one man with the shield.
Make a mad dash for it.
Oh no! A Raider Blitzer, who's got the acid proc.
Shutting down launch sequence.
So what's the story behind this one? Because we're obviously not paying too much attention to it this time. The
Honestly,
Cronkite.
I haven't done this one yet.
We keep Rob busy making the game.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know.
Can
But
you invite these guys back?
Let's try. Invite. I'm old school.
Do slash invite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of our most requested features when we first started Alpha.
Was the slash invite?
It was.
Yeah, it's just something people are used to, right? Even
Watching
though you
chat,
don't want
slash
to type.
invite, slash invite, slash
Yeah.
invite, slash invite.
Even though you don't
Looks
want
like-
to type. Oh my God. The Raider tanker. We're in trouble here.
Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to rejoin.
It's okay. Rob and I will try.
See,
will
this
be-
guy, the Elite Raider Blitzer's got like a. Oh, it's a mask on his face. I thought I'm dead.
You're dead. Why didn't you get away from him?
It's got incapacitated. I don't know. Maybe because there was a minigunner and somebody
God.
else and
And the
somebody
giant
else.
rocket launcher.
Raider tanker.
Need my stealth. Rob's stuck on geometry. There we go.
Yes. Blame it on the alpha.
Oh, ow. Alright, well, if we die, this would be a great way to end it. You know, like Thelma and Louise.
With yeah. We'll go down in Blaze of Glory, Bill.
Yeah, let's just do this thing.
I'm gonna
Just
grenade
gonna
this
Kill
guy.
him. And speaking of, that didn't take long. Wait, hold E to self-revive. You can only do that once, what, every hour, every half hour?
It's shorter than that, but it is, you know, it'll happen once and then it'll be a little time before it comes back. You'll be able to watch it on the top left, though, as it comes back.
Yeah, and you can lower the time between with perks, I think, right?
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
And there
Yep.
we go.
Perks or weapons or shields or...
I want to
all
let
that-
this guy get up on us too. He looks fantastic. The art. That's one thing I wanted to say too is that there's you've still got like it looks like the show, but it's also got kind of an art style all of its own. So it's not like photorealism or anything like that. Thank God. I honestly hate that, but it's got a nice art style. So congratulations to the art team there.
No, thank you.
You can't say thank you. You're not the art team.
I'll still take credit.
You still, yeah, just do it. Yeah, I did that. I also,
For those that ask, I just threw 5,000 beta keys in chat, so
oh, we're back. What happened?
enjoy.
There are 5,000 beta keys in chat, by the way, if you want to get in this weekend. Those are for the PC only, mind you. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. Robert Hill, let's say, is there anything else that you want people to know going into this sort of final beta weekend before launch?
Yeah, I mean, play it and enjoy it. We are, again, on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC, all launching on the same day. And the show will launch 2 weeks after that. And if you are participating from day one, you will actually see special content that will disappear when the show starts. You'll be playing with the main characters.
No kidding. That's pretty sweet. So when you say day one, will the head start begins when exactly? Because if you pre-order, you can get in a little early.
Can you?
I thought you could. Can you?
You can get access to the beta.
Oh, to the
which
beta, not
kicks off
early.
this weekend. Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was a head start. Sorry about
And
that.
we don't have that content in
Well-
beta.
We'll let you preload the game. How about that?
Okay, we can preload. I'll do that. I'll take that.
Congratulations.
Look how ill-informed I am. Wah, wah. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate it. Matthew, Lance, and of course the luminary Robert Hill. Thank you for taking your time out of your, well, I guess, incredibly busy launch schedule to show us the game and to give us sort of an exclusive look at Defiance before the NDA drops tomorrow. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys, and those of you who are watching the stream, and if you came in halfway and you want to catch the whole thing, don't worry, we'll be uploading it to YouTube. The VOD is on twitch.tv/MMORPGcom without the dot. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, all at MMORPGcom without the dot. You can follow myself at TheBillMurphy on Twitter, and you can follow Rob down there in the lower right at Graculin, as it says, if you want to hear us ramble and talk about the game tomorrow, which we will be doing all day. And yeah, thanks for watching. It was a lot of fun, and guys over at Trion Worlds, good luck with the launch. It's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, we're excited.